All right, everybody, welcome in once again. This is Talking Sports with Coach. It seems like we've been doing shows a little quicker than we normally have, at least not once a week. But we are happy to be back on, and I think this is episode 21 of Talking Sports with Coach. We're going to be breaking down a little bit of the NFL playoffs. Of course, the first week was last week. We got our second week up now, and why not talk with one of the best, if not the best, that can literally talk NFL, anything, pretty much anything all day. I'm sure he enjoyed the national championship on Monday, and I'm sure he's pretty disappointed about his Tennessee Titans, but we'll talk about that later. But that is Allan Bell Jr. of Sportsline.com, 24/7 Sports. Allan, I'm sure a lot of people have missed you. Great to have you back, and glad that you're safe after all the craziness and insaneness in Nashville.
Yeah, appreciate you having me back, dude. I miss all you guys. I miss you guys like crazy. And, dude, Nashville, I'm glad that we finally got a week, of just calm and nothing, you know what I mean? Who expects a bombing on Christmas Day, you know what I mean? So, Nashville's doing good. But, dude, it's great to be back with you, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So let's kind of dive into a little bit about last week. Talk a little bit about your Tennessee Titans and what happened to Derrick Henry late in that game, and then just how the Ravens just kind of took that revenge game seriously.
Yeah, they did. And you know what? I think what you just said is exactly the right answer. The Ravens wanted it more, and they had revenge on their mind, and they went out and they got the job done. They had a plan. To limit Derrick Henry to 90 yards, right? And first off, the respect level of that right there, right? 90 yards is a lot of yards in the NFL to most of the running backs, but they just opened the door. And the big thing is that that's what the Titan team has kind of been like all year. Kind of feast or famine. And you look at the defense; they had statistically the worst third down defense I think in the history of the NFL. But they won 11 games, right? So it just kind of goes to show that this team was really built off the offense. But when the offense isn't scoring, man, it is a completely different team, and we saw that. Nothing to say but credit to the Ravens. They're a really good football team, and they're peaking at the right time, man. Look out. They might make some noise in football.
I don't think they're peaking at the right time. They're also like one of the healthiest teams in the league. They feel like they're the team that came back with, whether you want to kind of discredit the receivers they have on offense, they've been running the ball consistently as well. I mean, not through just Lamar Jackson. J.K. Dobbins has been huge when Mark Ingram's been out. And both of them have been out with COVID, I believe, at least 1 or 2 games throughout the season. So, it's just crazy to see them play real well and just at a high level. But, I mean, we can say the same thing about when we talk about Cleveland here in a second. Of not really having to practice and just going through the walkthroughs and just being rested and being ready to go. It just seems like the better rested and the obviously the team that's not injured as much is playing real well so far.
You can do it. You can do it.
You're right. That's an interesting topic, and we can dive into that another time. But it's fascinating that what Cleveland did off of that. And I go back earlier this year, I think week 5 or somewhere around there. You remember when the Titans went through that, and they didn't practice or get on a field a week and a half. Yeah. And then Buffalo came to town, and they legit didn't practice a snap. And they rolled Buffalo. I mean, just whooped them. Right? So it's there's something to that, in terms of that kind of week off. But, in a larger token of what you're saying, I mean, absolutely, health is everything, and you're exactly right with the Ravens. I mean, they rushed for almost, I think, 1,600 yards in their last 6 games, which is that's the most in a 6-game span since the 1940s. I think the 49 Eagles, legit, they're getting the job done. And the tough part about playing them is that their defense plays well too, man. They play aggressive, they play physical, and I think 6 of the last 7 games they've held opponents to 20 or fewer points. So it's you don't have much wiggle room. If Lamar Jackson breaks a long one on you, you might be toast.
I felt I completely agree with you, because I felt in that last game against the Titans, he kind of took over him by himself. I mean, he pretty much he pretty much got the first downs that he needed. I mean, he did a lot of it on his legs. I mean, like I said, 136 yards on the ground last week. And just, I mean, it speaks volumes, though, obviously, on the other side of the ball, because I want to talk Derrick Henry, is that this man has ran for 2,000 yards in a season, and I feel like he's gotten the rushing title. He got the rushing title the last 2 years. If he wins it a third time, can they miss out on him being the MVP? Do you think he missed out on it this year because Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers are still floating around?
Yeah, he did miss out on it. Like, I hate that. Like, the award, let's just be honest, the award is a quarterback award, right?
Right.
Like, that's what it is.
Well, not the Heisman, though. That's for sure.
No, it's true. I mean, like, there have been 8 people in history that have ran for 2,000 yards. It's a significant thing that he accomplished, right? And I'm not taking it away from Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers threw more touchdown passes than the Packers had punts their entire season. Like, that's a legit stat. Like, he had a monster year. But
yeah.
Like, that's what I hate for Derrick is that, yeah, I mean, like, what he did is historic. And I'm going to give you a stat, and this is real. Like, this is not hyperbole. This is real. There have been 107 billion people that have ever walked this planet, ever, in the history of time, okay? Derrick Henry is the only human being that has had a 2,000-yard rushing season in high school, a 2,000-yard rushing season in college, and a 2,000 rushing yard season in the NFL. That's it. End of story. Like,
wow.
This dude is incredible. And I'm going to say this about him, too. And again, this is not hyperbole either. You look at his yardage, like, total, and you look at, like, his touchdowns and, like, where he's at. Like, he's about to catch Eddie George in touchdown. Eddie George. Like, Derrick Henry legit is just getting off of his rookie deal. And he didn't even, like, really play.
The first 2 years. Like, the first 2 years, it felt like.
Yeah, exactly, because the Titans used DeMarco Murray, right?
Yeah.
So, I say all that to say this. If Derrick Henry has, 2-3 more years of just consistent ball, it doesn't have to go for 2,000 yards. We're just talking, 1,400 yards, 1,500, just good seasons, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean this. We're legit talking Hall of Fame because the numbers where he will be at is exactly where every Hall of Fame running back is. Like, like that is how good this guy is. The numbers that he is putting up are crazy. So, again, I'm not saying that, right now Derrick Henry is a Hall of Famer because it sounds crazy, but, dude, he's kind of getting close already. Like, if he just stays consistent, he's going to have a gold jacket.
I think if he does it again, but I think also next year, if we look at crazy ahead, like way ahead, I really think if he did it again, if he got another 2,000 yards and he got the rushing title, obviously again, I would definitely give him the MVP this time. I would not look over him. I felt like Najee Harris in the Heisman got screwed off a little bit because, this man had more career touchdowns than Derrick Henry and Mark Ingram by the time they won the Heisman, and this man had 10 touchdowns in 5 games. So I mean, it's the averages alone of what he was doing. I mean, we're speaking volumes. And if Jalen Waddle was there, we would say Mac Jones would probably win the Heisman.
So one, I completely agree with Najee. Like, the tough part is that there are other deserving guys, and they're all on his team too. Like, that's the hard part. Like, I wouldn't argue anyone making the case for Najee, making the case for Mac. Obviously, Devontae winning it. Like, I wouldn't argue against any of them. You know what I mean? So yeah, and then 2, let me say this. Najee Harris, dude, like, this guy, he's kind of a freak in the sense of this.
Yeah.
Like, he's much faster than people think. And Derrick Henry's the exact same way. He's much faster than people think.
Right.
But 2, like, Najee can beat you on speed.
Yeah.
Najee can beat you by jumping over you. And Najee can beat you with the power game. Like, this dude is incredible. Like, he is an incredible running back. I can't wait to watch him in the NFL, man. He's gonna be outstanding.
Yeah, and and the guy's got, and it feels like over the last 2 years at least. His vision's gotten better. The way he hits the holes, everything like that. It reminds me of Derrick Henry, where it's just kind of like Derrick Henry, like once he starts going and once he just like kind of, it's like Derrick Henry doesn't really like, I don't think he really hesitates so much like Najee Harris does, but he definitely can hit that hole that he knows he's going to hit that hole immediately, and he's going to get there quick to it.
Yeah, like Derrick just goes, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm going to give you, I was talking to my dad about this, man, and it was funny because we both kind of thought the same thing. Do you remember, like, I wish I could remember the year. It was probably like 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. Do you remember those 2-3 years in the NFL when Arian Foster was the best running back?
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
I mean, I was trying to probably put him on my fantasy at the time.
Yeah, like, I mean, dude was just killing it, right? Like, just racking up yards, right? Like, Najee reminds me of him in the sense of what you were saying, of the way that he hits a hole and goes. Like, the NFL, forever has been one cut, go, right? Like, you don't have a lot of time, one cut, go. But you need to, sometimes you have to wait and be patient just a little bit to let the hole form. And Najee does that perfectly. And that's really what Arian Foster did phenomenally, is he knew exactly when to hesitate and boom, go. Like, Najee has a lot of that. I'm not saying, like, I think he'll end up being a better overall running back than Arian Foster. Like, I'm not saying, like that, but just like those 3 years when Arian was on top of his game, it looks a lot like Najee.
Averaged about 1,300 to 1,400 yards a game from 2010 to 2012, and then averaged about, I would say, 13 touchdowns a game. Had 16, 10, and 15. So I mean, the man was a freak for sure. Thank you so much, Lunar Free for All, for being here. I'm sure Steele is lurking around in the chat as well. This is Allan Bell Jr. from Sportsline.com. As we're talking a little Tennessee Titans bias, but it's because we're both, not only we cover the teams, but we also they're so close. I know it's his team, but it's definitely a team that speaks close to home, and you pretty much call it a home team anyway from where I live. So all right, we're moving on. Let's talk a little of last week. What happened to the Steelers, man? What happened to the Steelers, and is this Browns team for real?
Here's the thing. Like, we can say two things at the same time. The Browns team is for real. Like, this is a good football team. Nick Chubb, we're talking about running back. Nick Chubb does not get the credit that he deserves. He is a phenomenal NFL running back, right? And Kareem Hunt, obviously, has been a nice addition for them, too. Like, the Cleveland Browns run the football. But also, we can say this. Dude, the Pittsburgh Steelers were on borrowed time this year. And we were looking at a team. They were sitting 11-0 and had zero run game. None whatsoever. And it was like injuries started to pile up on defense. Injuries started to pile up on the offensive line. And then all of a sudden, when you don't have a run game, like their offense legitimately, like their pass, they couldn't run, one. Two, their passing attack legitimately was 2 yards and in. They did not have time to legitimately do anything. Yeah. And then couple in, Eric Ebron and Johnny Johnson dropping every pass in the match. It just smart. Like they were a really good football team that just fell apart, and it happens. It's not the first time we've seen it. It's certainly not going to be the last. Health, obviously, we talked about earlier, is incredibly important. But yeah, man, like they just couldn't make it. Just couldn't make it. But I also don't want to take anything away from the Browns because they're good. I mean, they deserve to be exactly where they are. They earned it, and shoot, they had to beat Pittsburgh twice in a row to do it. So credit to those guys. Without a doubt,
and it speaks a lot when Denzel Ward, Kevin Johnson both were on the reserve COVID list. You had literally your head coach and half of your coaching staff, in COVID protocol right now, and it's just crazy to think that, like we were saying earlier, that this team barely had that, if not any practice at all, did all Zoom calls, and then all of a sudden came out there, had the enough amount of rest, and ended up winning the game. And bad, and like making them look bad too, like just kind of like riding that game. I mean, they just kind of, it was garbage time when the Steelers were scoring those late touchdowns.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's what happens, man. That's a good team. And you start giving them opportunities on top of it. I mean, like, good luck, dude. You're not going to win any games at all. I saw the Browns coming into Nashville early in the year and just beat just a dog. out of the Titans. Right? Like, I mean, they put up like 35 points in the first half.
Yeah.
Like, this team can get hot, man. Like, they can get hot. Now, you got a pretty tough test going into Kansas City. And, you know, we're talking about rest. Kansas City starters haven't played in 3 weeks. Like, they haven't played since week 16.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how that's going to go. Like, I don't have any doubt about the Chiefs. But, you know, there's a difference between being off for 1 week and being off for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of interested to see how that goes about.
So we're kind of looking over on the other side. Tampa Bay Bucks defeat the Washington football team after, if you want to call it, Peterson just kind of giving up that game or not. We don't. I mean, to be honest with you, me and my friend were talking, and it was like basically I think Peterson just did it for Ron Rivera because it was like his buddy, it was his Andy Reid, you know, underling basically, and he was just trying to help out his friend, to be honest with you. And to be honest with you, I'd probably rather have seen the Washington football team play the Bucks and the Giants anyway. I don't know about you though.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like what the Washington team did on him. You know, they've got some really good talent on defense. You know, they've certainly got work to do offensively, but you know, we saw a team that believed in themselves. You know, all year, man. It wasn't always pretty, but you know what? They've got a lot of you know, kind of crap going on around them, right? You know, with name change, their ownership is horrific. They had to fire. Remember, they didn't have a general manager yet. Like, they had to fire their entire, you know, front office. Like, you know, Ron Rivera did a heck of a job with that team. Because he was essentially the leader of the entire franchise. So yeah, man, like I love seeing them, you know, as far as they did, because you know, certainly they overachieved, and they'll continue to get better. As for the Bucks, I mean, Tampa's playing good football right now. Like, Tom Brady, like, I know that, you know, we talk about Brady, you know, all the time, and what he's doing is kind of like 4-game span. Dude, he's averaging like 380 yards per game, Pat. Like, he's putting up like big Tom Brady numbers right now. And you know, they don't get the attention, you know, so to say, you know, that other teams do. You know, in the playoffs, but just look out, man. I know that they're playing, you know, the Saints this weekend in New Orleans.
0-2 against them too.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I know the Saints blew them out twice this year, but I look at what the Saints are doing offensively, and I look at what the Bucks are doing offensively.
Yeah.
And it's nowhere close, bro.
And the Bucks aren't the Bears.
They're playing much better football, and the Bucks don't let you run the ball either.
Yeah.
Remember, you know,
Leonard Fournette's playing really well too. Leonard Fournette's been key for him.
Yeah. They're just playing well, man. Like, the entire team, and you know, we see that, like, you know, that team is built off the offense, you know, and obviously off Tom Brady, and when it's working, they're low to handle, man. Like, they can just go out of the hole.
All right, so were you surprised by the Rams, the way they just dismantled the Seahawks like that?
No, I mean, not really. Rams are a good football team.
Yeah.
You know, those NFC West games, you know, are always, you know, seemingly, you know, low scoring. And the Seahawks had a really, you know, kind of transformation in the middle of the season. You remember, you know, the first 5 weeks, you know, the whole narrative of the NFL was let Russ cook. He's already got the MVP. You know, he's putting up crazy monster numbers.
Yeah.
But the defense was horrific, right? Like, it was like, you know, NFL worst all-time type horrific. And then through the middle of the year, you know, they got away from running the football, you know, which has really been their bread and butter. So they weren't scoring. Like, they went down like 8 or 9 points on average of their offense per game. But their defense turned around. Like, you know, teams weren't scoring more than like 21 points on them. But in the end, it didn't work. And the Rams are a good football team. Obviously built, you know, from the defensive line out. They can really force you into some bad situations offensively because, you know, with Jalen Ramsey in their secondary, like, they're not afraid to leave those guys on an island. And Jalen Ramsey's not getting enough credit for how good this dude is. You know, that's the hard part with corners. You know, it's kind of like a good umpire in baseball, like calling balls and strikes. Like, if we don't notice you and don't know your name, you had a great day.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's kind of like a corner. Like, if we're not talking about you and we don't even think about you, that means that you had a good day because your wide receiver's doing nothing. So what we're going to see, like Jalen Ramsey versus Devontae Adams, This kind of weekend is going to be phenomenal. But again, like the Rams are good, man. I think this is where it ends. But give them credit, like they've turned things around. Because a year and a half ago, buddy, they were in a really bad spot.
Without a doubt. I mean, I think it was huge. I mean, I picked the Seahawks, but I picked them in like a close one. I thought they would win like some weird Seahawks game where it was like 16-12 or 21-13 or something like that because somebody missed an extra point or something. So let's move on to one more game we want to recap, and I want to just ask your opinion on Phillip Rivers, of course, and the way that such a close game in the final seconds to lose to the Bills. Is this it for Phillip Rivers? Is he going to go be a head coach down in Mobile at the next whatever university, high school, college that they're building down there?
Yeah.
Or is this could he have another year?
Well, I mean, he can have both, or he's not both.
Oh no, he's gonna.
Yeah, like he can do whichever one that he wants, right? Like if he wants to come back and play, he's got a spot there. Like he was good with the Colts; they were a good football team, right?
Yeah.
The question is when does he want to transition out? And I don't know where that level is because it's hard to switch the game, man. Because once you do, you're done forever. You'll never ever play again, right? But with him, he's still going to be in the game, and it's going to be about his kids. And we all know, Rivers. First off, Phillip Rivers is one of the best human beings on the planet.
Oh yeah,
he is
greatest trash talker ever.
He's bona fide, bona fide, fantastic, awesome. He's everything that you would want out of a quarterback, out of a leader, out of a friend, out of a coach. Like he is it. He is 100% genuine, and he has his next stop already lined up, and it involves his kids, right? So it's not like he's going to be sad, depressed leaving the game. Like he's going to go in and crush it. So I don't know the answer, but whichever path he wants to go, it's going to be available for him.
All right, man. So let's get down to the picks. I know I have it up here on ESPN, but we want to hear what Sportsline obviously has, and what your route you're going. Give me your picks for Rams and Packers. Bucks in New Orleans, Ravens, Bills, and Browns, Chiefs.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we'll just go in order here. First game on Saturday. You get the Rams and the Packers. Packers are a 6.5 point favorite. I'm going to go with the Packers and the points. I think this is the game where Green Bay just kind of flexes their muscle. Aaron Rodgers, especially as of late, like he looks like a dad playing dodgeball in the yard with the kids, right? He can just do whatever he wants, and it doesn't matter. Now, don't be wrong, the Rams defense is nothing to play around with. But this dude is just crazy.
I think. No. Go ahead. No, go ahead. If you want to finish your statement, I'm sorry.
No. That's what I'm saying.
I was just.
I'm going Packers in the points. I think they win.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Jalen Ramsey versus Devontae Adams. What can this Packers offensive line do without Bakhtiari against a great defensive line in the Rams? And basically with that matchup between Ramsey and Devontae Adams, who will step up receiving wise for the Packers? I mean, I know they've got plenty of running backs. I know they've got good running backs. We'll just have to see who really steps up for him. So I can completely agree. It's gonna be a close one. I would take the Packers in the points. ESPN has them at like -7. What's the over under? What's the over under for Sportsline?
Let's see. We've got it at 45.5.
Okay, so I would probably take yours. Theirs is at 46.5. So I would definitely. They got high rollers over there. So Bucks and Saints. It's not going to be a blowout, right?
No, I don't think so. So you look at the Bucks. Tampa Bay and New Orleans. New Orleans is a 3-point favorite. Here's the thing. I think the Bucks cover. I think the Saints win. I think you're probably looking at a pretty tight game.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay certainly could. Like I was saying, like everything that I'm seeing, offensively, Tampa's playing better, and it's quite frankly, it's not even close. But this is where, and forgive me for not sounding intellectual. The Saints are the weirdest team in the NFL.
Yeah.
This is the most risky team to bet on because you just don't know what you're going to get. Like they like we could see last weekend where they scored 21 points and easily win, or to do it. Like, Alvin Kamara could have 6 touchdowns, or he could have 3 touches and nothing, right? Like, and they still get the job done. Like, they're just that, kind of quirky and good. So, yeah, I'm gonna hedge myself. I'm gonna say Tampa Bay covers, but New Orleans wins again.
All right, so we're moving on to, let's see, the night game on Saturday. Baltimore Ravens at the Buffalo Bills. What are your thoughts?
I'm going upset city, bro. I'm going to say that the Ravens going to Buffalo to win that game. You got the Bills, they're 2.5-point favorites. So I'm going to play the team, Baltimore plus 2.5, and I'm going to play Baltimore money line as well because, like I said, I think they go in and win. And here's why. I don't think it's going to be a terribly high-scoring game.
Yeah.
I think Baltimore, what they've been doing, like I said, 6 of the last 7, they've kept teams 20 points or fewer. They're playing really good defensively, and they're playing really well offensively, running the ball. And you look at Lamar Jackson; he's 7-0 against the spread in weather games like 40 degrees and below.
Yeah.
Like, the guy shows up when it's cold. And here's the thing: Buffalo. You're talking about Pittsburgh not having a run game. Buffalo doesn't really have one either. Now, Josh Allen can do it, but here's the counter to it: what team would be better at stopping a mobile quarterback running than the Baltimore Ravens, who have to face that every single day in practice, right? Like, that's nothing new to them. They got the fastest guy, quarterback in the league to deal with. So, yeah, I'm going with the upset, man. I say the Ravens go in and beat Buffalo.
All right, so do the Browns have a chance against the Chiefs on Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, any team has a chance. Like we said, I want to see what Kansas City looks like, with their starters, not playing for 3 weeks. I'm not saying it's going to be, super negative. I just want to, kind of see it. And remember, take week 17 out for the Chiefs because they rested their starters. The Chiefs won 7 games in a row by 6 points or fewer. Like, they weren't blowing people out. This wasn't the same Chiefs, explosions that we've seen. So they played tight games. So Cleveland's got a shot here. However, I mean, you're going to have everything that happened in the Pittsburgh game and then some. And I don't think Kansas City could do that. So I'm not going to go with 10 points, but I'm definitely going with Kansas City to win the game. All
right, there you have it. Giving you the best around the NFL and trying to give you, if you're a betting guy or if you just want to pick games, definitely get the best from this guy right here. That is Allan Bell Jr. from Sportsline.com. Man, what are your thoughts on the national title game, and is the dynasty still going to roll?
Oh God, I mean, this thing's going to continue. Like Alabama seems to just be finding cyborgs year after year, right? Like, just getting better. Alabama's a machine, and I don't think that Nick Saban and his staff get enough credit for one. They out recruit you, but Alabama really doesn't miss either, right? Like, they hit on pretty much all of their recruits, right? So like, they do a good job of scouting and talent evaluation. But 2, where they don't get enough credit is that they develop guys, man. Like the guys get better. That's why they perform like they do in the NFL. So, I mean, this thing isn't stopping. And, I mean, just credit to them, man. I mean, they were just a machine, dude.
Yeah.
They look so good, so polished, so much talent out there.
Yeah.
It's really a joy to watch. Like, whether you're an Alabama fan or not, like, we're seeing history in front of us that, honestly, we probably won't ever see in our lifetime, and we might not ever see it again. Like, it's just incredible, really what Nick Saban's accomplished.
All right, so Head of Steel said Browns' magic is probably run out. Steelers had too many turnovers and gave that game away. Steele's always been in here. He always enjoys you as always, Allan. Allan, tell everybody where they can reach you and follow your stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So, Sportsline.com, part of the CBS Sports family, with 24/7 Sports and all of us together. So, yeah, you can find me on Sportsline.com. You can also find me on Twitter, at AllanBell247. And for real, like, let's talk ball on there, man. Like, I'm on there all the time, all day. And, would love to talk with anybody.
All right, man. Thank you so much again. Like I said, be safe. And I will still be listening to you on Mondays, even though I'm not there. And we'll talk to you soon, man. Have a good one.
All right, man. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
See you, man. All right. There you have it. Always good. Allan Bell Jr. does the best. Like, seriously, he and he tweets often. He does tweet all the time. He's always tweeting about something. He was just tweeting something. That's the reason why I asked him about the national title game, is because he tweeted something about the national title not too long ago, actually. I think it was like right before I got him on. So yeah, that was fun. Make sure you listen to him on 977 ESPN too, because he gets on there on Mondays with Tom. That's where I get this. That's where I got the guy from. Guy does, like, seriously, Allan Bell does a great job. Like, he's really good at talking NFL. I mean, he's and Sportsline, especially if there's people out there watching this and they gamble, then he's definitely somebody that they need to be following and paying attention to. He does pretty good. As usually he's on with Tom, and then Tom will have him. Not only him, but he's got 3 other guys too that do like betting. And so if you take his and kind of, you know, bet against and take others and then just kind of like compare them or whatever, he's usually spot on. So I thought it would be good. It's been a while since we've even talked to him, so I thought maybe we would do that. So, all right, I'm gonna end the show. I'm gonna end the show and clip this, so everyone knows that it's done. So I know where it's done at, and then I'll be right back. What do you say?